Hello everyone, today we'll be discussing about holozoic nutrition in human being. In human being, nutrition is obtained by the help of a system known as digestive system. The digestive system of human being consists of two major components, namely alimentary canal and associated digestive glands. Okay, so we need to understand what is alimentary canal and what is the need of associated digestive glands in the process of digestion. So in alimentary canal, there is a long tube which is made up of different parts. The parts includes mouth, which we also can call it as buccal cavity, esophagus, also known as food pipe, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and anus. Associated digestive glands include three glands: salivary gland, liver, and pancreas. The alimentary canal is a long tube having a length of 8 to 10 meters. When we eat food, it travels from the mouth to the food pipe and then it moves into the stomach. From stomach, it goes to the small intestine, which is quite long. It is around 6 meter long, which is located in the abdomen region of our body. Here the complete digestion takes place and undigested food matter along with water moves into the large intestine and then finally it is released from the through the anus. Now let us discuss the various processes of nutrition taking place in the digestive system of human beings. Food is taken into the body through the mouth. This process of taking food into the body is called ingestion. The mouth contains the tongue, teeth, and salivary glands. It is also known as buccal cavity or oral cavity. It is interesting to know that digestion begins in the mouth itself. The teeth help in breaking bigger food particles into smaller pieces by the process of chewing or mastication. This is a mechanical process. As we all know, teeth are located in our jaws, that is lower jaw and upper jaw, in the mouth cavity. They are fixed to the gums. Based on the structure and function, teeth are of four types: incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. This basic idea of teeth must be known to us. Incisors, the teeth located in front, are helpful in cutting and biting food. Canines are the sharp teeth on either side of incisors. This helps in piercing and tearing food. Premolars on either side of canines helps in chewing and grinding food. Molars on either side of premolars also help in chewing and grinding food. Inside our mouth, a fleshy muscular organ, that is tongue, is attached at the back and free at the front. It can be moved in all directions. It performs certain specific functions, like it helps in mixing the chewed food with saliva. It helps in swallowing food. It helps to detect different tastes of food with the help of taste buds. Now, let us discuss about salivary glands. What do we mean by salivary glands? These are digestive glands which helps in digestion. These are present in the buccal cavity. We have three pairs of salivary glands. One situated below the ears, one situated at the angles of lower jaw, and the other pair situated below the tongue. The salivary glands produce saliva. The saliva contains enzymes known as ptyalin, P-T-Y-A-L-I-N, ptyalin, or we also can call it as salivary amylase. This enzyme helps in breaking down carbohydrate. Whenever we eat food containing carbohydrate, saliva acts upon it so that it can break down carbohydrate in. As saliva gets mixed with food, while chewing, it softens the food. Saliva also contains mucus, which helps in lubrication. That means it helps in passing the food through the food pipe easily. The partially digested food in the mouth is swallowed by the tongue and goes into the stomach through esophagus or food pipe. When the partially digested food enters the food pipe, the walls of the food pipe starts rhythmic contraction movement known as peristalsis. By these peristaltic movements, the partially digested food is pushed into the stomach. Esophagus does not possess any digestive gland. However, it secretes mucus for further lubrication of food. So, no digestion takes place in esophagus. The stomach is the widest part of the alimentary canal. It is a J-shaped organ that lies on the left side just behind the diaphragm. The food is further broken down in small pieces by churning movements of stomach. Churning movement means the stomach keeps on moving gently. A gentle movement is there in stomach. The stomach contains a number of gastric glands. The enzyme pepsin digests the protein present in the food and convert it into small and simple molecules known as peptones. I hope it is clear to you all. Pepsinogen in the presence of HCl converts it into pepsin, and pepsin acts on proteinaceous food and convert it into peptones. That means protein is partially digested in stomach. In this way, digestion of proteins present in the food starts in stomach. It is to be noted that the pepsin can digest proteins only in the presence of acidic medium. Thus, production of hydrochloric acid in gastric juice is necessary for the working of pepsin. Walls of stomach are protected from the action of hydrochloric acid by mucus. The acidic partially digested food then present at the end of its stay in stomach is called chyme. This partially digested food then passes into the small intestine. The exit of food from the stomach is regulated by a sphincter muscle which releases it in small amounts into the small intestine. Digestion in small intestine is carried out with the help of secretions from the liver and pancreas. So let us understand how does liver and pancreas help in further digestion of food. The secretions of liver and pancreas are received through a common duct. Liver is the largest gland present in the human body. The job of liver is to make a green liquid called bile, which is alkaline in nature. So, bile neutralizes the acidity of food received from stomach. Bile is a juice which contains bile pigments and bile salts. A major function of bile salts is to break larger globules of fat into fine globules for action of enzyme, that is pancreatic enzyme known as lipase, so that it can break down further. Now breaking of fat into fine globule is called emulsification. Now in the diagram, you can see the pancreas. Pancreas lies beneath the stomach. Pancreatic juice is secreted by pancreas and is released into the small intestine. Pancreatic juice is slightly alkaline. This juice contains three main enzymes known as trypsin, amylase, which is also known as pancreatic amylase, and lipase. Now let us see how these enzymes break down food. Trypsin is an enzyme which functions in alkaline medium. It is secreted in inactive form of trypsinogen. Trypsin breaks down proteins or proteases and peptones to form peptides. Pancreatic lipase is the main fat digesting enzyme. That means it can digest emulsified fats into simpler form. And amylase, which is known as pancreatic amylase, acts on carbohydrates so that it can break down further. The small intestine, which is a narrow and coiled tube, constitutes about 75% of the whole length of alimentary canal, which means it is about 7.5 meter long in an adult human being. We have understood here that when food comes from the stomach and enters the first part of the small intestine, which we call it as duodenum, then the liver and pancreas secretes the juices into it. So when food from duodenum, that is the partially digested food from duodenum, reaches the next part of the small intestine known as ileum. In ileum, the partially digested food is mixed with the colorless intestinal juice secreted by wall of ileum. That means the inner wall of small intestine also have glands, which we call it as intestinal glands. This intestinal glands produces intestinal juices. The enzymes present in intestinal juice completely digest the partially digested food, that is the intestinal juice breaks up the carbohydrates into glucose, that is simple sugars, proteins is broken down to amino acids, and fats is finally broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. In this way, the digestion of food completes in the small intestine. So here we have understood how food gets converted into simple and soluble form. That is, the digestion is completed in the small intestine. Once the food is digested, then it needs to be absorbed by the body. So the inner wall of the small intestine has a number of finger-like outgrowths called villi. The villi increase the surface area for absorption of the digested food. The villi have a network of very fine blood vessels called capillaries. The food substances are absorbed by the villi and then transported through the blood vessels to different organs of the body. In the body, the absorbed food is incorporated into cell components. This process is known as assimilation. The food that remains undigested and unabsorbed enters the large intestine. The large intestine is shorter in length, that is about 1.5 meters, but wider than the small intestine. So no digestion occurs here. Its main function is to absorb water from the undigested food material. The undigested waste from the large intestine passes into the rectum and is stored here as semi-solid fecal matter. The fecal matter is passed out through an opening called the anus. This process is called egestion. So dear children, hope this video will help you to understand this complex process of digestive system in a simpler way.